guys, welcome back to Critical Flick. Today we're going to be talking about Jojo Rabbit.
So Jojo Rabbit was a film we got to check out at the Virginia Film Festival, and I have to say, I think it lived up to the hype.
Yes, this is a very delightful and fun film that I just didn't expect what it was going to be like.
So Jojo Rabbit is the story of a young boy named Jojo. He is in the Hitler Youth, and this takes place during the ending years of World War II, and his imaginary friend is actually Adolf Hitler, who's played by Taika Waititi. And it's just kind of a weird satirical take on this really dark time in history.
Like I said, this is a super delightful film. Even though the topic is a little touchy, I mean, it's regarding Nazi Germany. It's just like one that a lot of people want to discuss.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting. When I went into it, I guess you have to have a certain mindset when you go into this film. I could almost see how this film could be slightly offensive to some people, especially those that were directly affected by the events of World War II, because it does make light of these situations, but it's doing it in a way that lampoons Nazism and Hitler himself, so I think it works on some levels, and it hits more than it misses.
Robin Griffin Davis plays Jojo in the movie, and he is just a breath of fresh air. I loved him in this movie. He's this cute kid, and you just want him to do what's best.
Yeah, and the thing about it is he really captures that childhood innocence and the way that a child can be molded one way or another. He's seeing these horrible propaganda films, and to him, that's his superheroes. Hitler is his idol, but as he starts to unwind, the underbelly of what this really is, you see him grow, and it's kind of a coming-of-age tale as well as being a comedy.
Yeah, and I also thought Scarlett Johansson's character was really well. She plays his mother, and I really liked her character. She's a mother wanting more for her country and her son. The whole movie, you just see her try to, get Jojo to rethink, and not everything is about Nazi Germany.
And that's the thing. She kind of is the embodiment of all the things that could be good, all the positive things in Jojo's life. He has these very dark messages and these things going on with him dealing with the Hitler Youth and everything, and then his mother coming in and showing him, of what it means to love and, embrace people and just kind of be a better person. And I think some of the scenes with her were some of the most powerful scenes in the film. There's a scene that takes place in a courtyard that is dealing with Jojo and his mother, and I really thought that scene in particular hit especially hard. This movie seems to know when to pull punches and really hit you with some of the serious tones of it, and I think that scene in particular was extremely well directed and shot.
Yeah, that scene that you're talking about is very impactful, and it takes a step back from the movie where there's this lightheartedness.
Yeah, that almost is like a tonal shift in the film.
Yeah, and I really like how they tackled that scene.
Yeah, so a lot of this movie is kind of like you see in the commercials. It's very comedic, very lighthearted, very whimsical, taking on this very serious topic. But like Noelle said, that scene in particular shifts the movie. It is a hard-hitting moment where Jojo's life kind of totally flips on its head, and I like seeing his performance in that and kind of the messages of what this all means.
With that, Jojo learns about true love and friendship and how important it is in society, and that's what the main goal I feel like in this movie is.
Yeah, before the movie there's actually a little short forward from the director, and he talks about how this movie is to combat some of the negative things going on in the world today and show us in this lens of Nazi Germany and showing propaganda and that love conquers all. And that's really the moral of the story. And I think a lot of the time he nails that messaging. I think it can be lost, especially by some people viewing this film, but for me it worked.
Mm-hmm. Yorkie and Jojo's friendship in this movie was amazing. I loved every moment when they were on screen. It was just like that cute best friend friendship that you had when you were younger. Yeah. And I just loved it. It just brought a little happiness and joy in the film.
Yeah, and their relationship really shows the childhood innocence of these characters, like I said. You have this forefront of a very heartwarming and very, you just love these two little characters together. You're rooting for them. And then on the other side of it, they're actually kind of spouting some Nazi propaganda. Mm-hmm. So that's showing, the cuteness in the forefront and the heartwarming, but then the darkness looming in the background. And that balance is struck so well throughout most of the film. Like I said, for some people it might not work, but for me, I think that he nailed the balance between these two subjects. Well, I think only Taika Waititi could have played the imaginary character of Adolf Hitler in this film. Him being someone of Jewish descent and, indigenous descent, he kind of represents everything that Hitler would have hated in the real world. And him playing this character takes some of the power away from it. And that balance in showing Jojo's interaction with him as the story progresses from someone he idolizes as a hero and kind of a friend to someone he despises and hates by the end of the film, I think that worked really well, using these little whimsical offshoots in story to show his progression as a character.
With that, I'd give this movie a 9.5 out of 10. I really, really enjoyed this film. It was quite a surprise to me. Didn't see this preview to the week before I saw this movie. And the acting, the messaging, and just everything the director did for this film, I just enjoyed it. And it was just, I just loved it.
So if I would rate this movie, I would give it a 9 out of 10. I think it was a really well-made film. I think the stories and the messaging that the director was going for, he really nailed them. I think the acting and performances were incredibly solid. I do understand some of the criticism some people would have with this film, because it does, in a way, make light of some very serious events, but I think the kind of ridiculous, over-the-top messaging shows you that it's showing how horrible these things are. So that's a really hard balance. And for me, it worked, but I can see why it wouldn't with some. But for me, I just think it was masterfully made.
Alright, so this sums up our review of Jojo Rabbit. Let us know in the comments down below if you're excited to see this movie. And what do you think about award season? Do you think it's going to be up for anything? And always remember to like and subscribe. We always appreciate your support, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.